What's up, guys? We got a new game with the white pieces. We're rated 1253 against Iba, rated 1271. We start with 1e4 and black's playing a Caro-Kann. So we're gonna play the advance. We're gonna push past. And the two main moves for black are bishop out and c5. This is not one of the main moves. You could do like whatever you want really at this point. I wonder what his idea is. Maybe it's unorthodox. You could take and do this, but I don't know if it's really worth it right now. Maybe I'll just leave his knight there and just develop my piece. So I'll just bring my knight out and see what he wants to do with this stuff. Okay, so he does bring his bishop out. I expected as much. And it just bears down on his diagonal. So we're going to counter pressure it with our bishop and ask if he wants to change his most active piece. If he does, we get to develop our queen to that diagonal, and now we're ready to castle. So black goes e6. This opens up the bishop's diagonal as well as the queen's diagonal. No real drawback. Okay, it's our turn. We can castle. We can develop a minor piece. Maybe we can even go c4. I'm going to start with castling just to get it out of the way. He goes c5. What does this threaten? Maybe he wants to take, maybe he wants to push. He's just creating more space for his pieces, so it makes sense. Okay, that's fine. The downside is he's not castling, and he's not any closer to castling. So I'm going to match his c5 with my own c4. The difference is I'm already castled, so I'm already safe. So if the center opens up, it should benefit me, theoretically. So he develops his knight here, and not here, which is kind of weird. What does it threaten? Nothing. And the drawback is it's on a more passive square than c6. So I guess I should be happy about that. Okay, so it's my turn. I could open up the position this way. C takes, E takes. It's kind of fishy for him. I could also just develop a minor piece, but I'm going to start with taking a central pawn with my flank pawn. Also, if he takes back, that removes the protector of the square, like for his knight, let's say, so his knight can't jump there because it'll hang. And I mean, he's gonna take back, right? So there's that. At all moments, I've been looking at this, but I'm not sure what it accomplishes, so I'm waiting for a better time to do it. And okay, so now I want to play a move. I want to develop my pieces. I want to make a developing move that I know I want to make. That way I can stay flexible. That move is rook e1. I know I want to put this here. I know I want to defend the pawn. Now it even allows me to push e6, which is a nice move. So black takes my pawn. This doesn't threaten anything. I mean, he took a pawn. The drawback is I don't have to recapture on this turn if I don't want. He's not developing and he's not castling. I could ignore it and potentially push bishop. Oh no, his knight would hang, so if he does take and I take and he bishops out, alternatively I can take this, start with this, and then when I push it'll have another attacker closer. I wonder which one. e6 or knight takes pawn. Um, let's go e6 first. It's more forcing. It doesn't let him, do something like this and get ready to castle because it's forcing, it's hitting the knight. So I feel like knight takes pawn is a little slow. And so I chose to do this version. So that's my thought process on that. Now his knight can't go here ever. And this square, maybe, for a turn. I do need to get my queen side in, but he's all in the back rank. These two knights are really bad. I mean, he could be good here, but this comes with a check, so he might have to take, but then if I take, it looks kind of weird for him. Because if he blocks with the bishop, then what if I take the knight? Pawn takes, rook takes. Although that's just a pawn, I don't know if I'd even want the pawn. I'd want to follow up on an attack, really. Although I don't really have that many pieces, they're kind of still at home. So let's try takes, bishop blocks, bishop here. But then knight intercepts. Yeah. Okay, so that's not the variation. So takes. Do we have to recapture immediately? Probably. Yeah, you probably should. So you take with the rook. Okay, never mind. Did he forget the knight was hanging? I forgot too at first. I'm like, oh, just bishop b7 in castles, but the knight's hanging, so you can't bishop b7 in castles, which is normally what you want to do in this situation, because then it doesn't, it takes the sting out of it once you're castled already. But now I just take a free knight with check, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, he's not resigning, so maybe he's thought that was his best option. Okay, so now 2 pawns for a knight. I could try to simplify, start taking stuff, but maybe that's not the best course of action. There's also pawns hanging, there's knight jumps. It's hard to say what's best. Right now the bishop's in a pin though, so that would be cool if we could somehow take advantage of that. If I hit the queen, what does that accomplish exactly? Let's just say he moves. Okay, let's say he moves here. Let's say he goes to d8 just for try to pick a safe square. What would be my follow-up? I don't know. I could take the pawn. I could move my queen over and threaten bishop takes knight, queen takes f7. I could also take this right now because he is threatening to bring his knight back in the game. So maybe let's remove this pawn, which will free up the square for this knight. Okay, so now he castles. So I didn't make use of the pin, but okay, fine. I'm still up kind of a piece. And now if I take this, that ruins his king side's. So I'm basically developing with tempo by chucking that piece. And now I think check, king over, check, f whatever, queen. Oh no, then I take the bishop. Oh yeah, this is good for me. Because now the bishop hangs and he can't go here. So this is okay, so he does that, but then I take, if I take this bishop and he goes here, he's gonna checkmate me. What? That's so unlucky. because my knight's not developed, so I have back rank problems. I mean, it's not, I'm still winning, but that's so, if he took with this rook, I'd have check to get out of it. But if he moves his other rook, then this pawn's still protected by this guy. And then if I took his queen, he would just take me here and checkmate. So I can't take the bishop. He's so lucky, oh my god. That's why you develop your pieces. You see? It enables everything. And of course, the queen trade's good for me because it's a knight for a pawn situation. Basically, this knight for this pawn. And if he doesn't take me, well, I'm going to develop this knight and connect my rooks, so I don't have back rank problems. I mean, I still have back rank problems, but now he's thinking. He's not sure what to do. His position's a little tricky. He avoids the trade, puts a little pressure here, here, okay? I'm going to develop my knight, and because my rooks are connected, now I'm threatening to take, because this doesn't work anymore because I just moved my queen. So I'm threatening to take his bishop. On top of that, this pawn is hanging. So he moves his bishop, attacks my knight, and pins it. Drawback, well, he loses a little control. These dark squares, that's fine. So, I mean, we could just take this pawn with the knight or the queen. I'm going to go with the knight because it does this double attack, which means he doesn't even get to pick up a rook. You could have taken with the queen probably too, but this looks more convincing. It also hits this, so it's a triple fork. So now he goes for the queen trade. I could just take the bishop. I also don't see a downside to queen trading. So let's see, if I take the bishop and he takes back. Yeah, it's a little too complicated. Maybe it's simpler if I just go this route, since I have 2 minutes on the clock. And so now I'm just looking for targets and weaknesses. Something to attack. I need to be aware that my back rank is a little loose, and just be aware of that. There's a free pawn here, but I do have 2 knights that are lined up, so that's generally not good. He also has this tactic, but maybe I'll let him do it, because I'll gladly take his bishop for this knight. So he could do this and win the pawn back, but I'm allowing it. That's actually not good for him. Now I'm just going to double my rooks just to simplify further and increase the power. Now I don't have any back rank problems. And he can't avoid a rook trade unless he goes all the way back and then I still go there. So he tries to get his maybe his king out, but I'm just gonna kind of give him this check and keep him within the confines of this little cube. I'm gonna throw another check in because this square's cut off. Okay, so he's attacking my knight. He's coming closer to me. I'm not sure if that's a good idea for him. Probably not. I'm gonna try to, well, I'm just gonna bring it back for now. He's kind of walking into a mating net, I feel like. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. He could go here to try to force my king back a little. But it's not a big deal. He's still in a mating net, kinda. As long as I don't run out of time, this is no problem. Also, I mean, I can just take stuff, but I like trying to do these mating nets. So, like this forces this, and then this forces this, and then this. That's checkmate, you see? Just start calculating random checks when it looks like they're in some type of net. And see, so check, his king has to go here. Check, his king has to go here. check. Let's checkmate. Okay. So let's force checkmate if he does anything with these pieces. Well, maybe not anything, but okay. But now I have check. What we just calculated. Check. And that's checkmate. And it probably didn't look like it to him, but you become more familiar with mating nets. As soon as he moved his king forward in front of my rooks instead of staying on the back rank, I started looking for that stuff. So you kind of get more used to it after you see it more and more. So we'll play another game against Muhammad. We'll go for an Caro-Kann and see what happens. He's rated 1226. I don't think we've had an Caro-Kann. Maybe we had one actually. I think a bunch of people denied it. Maybe like this guy. Maybe one guy accepted. This guy denies it. So we're gonna transpose into a Pirc, which is e4 and d4, and then we put our bishop here. And this setup is the Pirc. And now, because he did this with his knights, this is the classical. Okay, so he brings his bishop out. This indicates that maybe he wants to castle long, which is why he's developing that bishop first. Okay, so taking that into consideration, I'm going to go c6, so that if he does castle long, I have a pawn storm in the making. Okay, he brought his bishop out. What does this threaten? Nothing. It just defends the center, prepares short castling. That's fine. We're going to continue our minor piece development and bring the knight out. Control the center a little bit. Okay, so he castles short, so we don't need to pawn storm his queen side, and now we feel a lot safer and we feel more comfortable castling short ourselves, so we're going to do that because now we know we're not going to get pawn stormed because his king's here. What am I missing? Am I missing? What? Okay, so maybe he's hallucinating and thinks he has the battery. So he goes for the bishop trade. I accept your trade, except there's no battery. So thank you. Awfully suspicious. So now he goes e5. What does this threaten? It threatens a knight. He opens up some of his pieces. Threatens to break down my center, whatever center I have. Drawback is now I'm up a piece, so I'm going to take this pawn. He'll take back. And now what's he threatening? My knight. This is defended, so I have to move my knight. I'm going to move my knight into the center, which comes with some nice squares. Also, it vacates this diagonal, so when my bishop goes back, I'm targeting the pawn. He takes my knight, I must take back. And now this pawn's loose, but I'm up a piece, so I don't care. He moves his rook over. What does this threaten? It's nothing, it simply defends the pawn, develops a piece. What's the drawback? No real drawback. Okay. So we do want to continue developing. This knight, it is putting pressure, but it's also blocking my bishop, and I don't need to win this pawn. I'm up a piece. I want to move it to a better, more active square, pressure his bishop, unlock my bishop. This pawn's not going anywhere. And so now I'm up a dark square bishop. And so I'm the only one with the dark square bishop on the board. So it's going to be very hard for him to do anything to my king. And it's also going to be hard for him to control the dark squares in his territory. So he's thinking. Let's see what he does. So he moves the bishop out of the attack, controls some of these squares. What's the drawback? Well, it's not really aiming at anything. It's not making contact with anything. It takes a full tempo, and if I want, I can kick it because what's it doing there? So I'm gonna kick it because what's it doing there? And I mean, it gets taken on any of these squares. How is this guy 1226? I don't get it. So he moves his bishop back. What's the drawback? It hangs, obviously. Okay, this game's over. He resigns. We take another one. We keep on climbing. Submit your rapid games for move by move analysis. Goodbye.